feel so good. Why don't you love me like I know you could?
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, the beautiful, effervescent Kelli Hart is in the studio.
Hi, good
Kelli
morning.
from Ocala Magazine. Good morning, Kelli. How you doing?
I'm great. I was listening to the segment prior to mine.
The memory one?
The memory one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you memorize all those things he told us to memorize? The tree, the cat, the car?
So the tree, the car,
The cat.
the umbrella, swimming pool,
Yeah.
elephant, bank, orange juice, cell phone, chocolate.
Good job.
Thanks.
Wow.
I like that kind of stuff.
Wow.
That's why I was really listening intently.
Wow, that is
because,
cool. So you going to use that in any way?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm going to try to teach it to Lily to help her remember things. That's such a great way of making a story out of it. So I think that'd be helpful for an
But how would you
8-year-old.
use that like in the grocery store? You got to buy milk, eggs, cheese, butter.
I don't know. We like to play the game. Have you ever played it called Going on a Picnic?
No. I don't
Okay,
think.
so usually, so it's even better now, the 5 of us. So when it's Thomas and I and our 3 kids together, it's called I'm Going on a Picnic. And so someone will start and they'll say, I'm going on a picnic and I'm bringing an apple. And then the next person will say, okay, I'm bringing an apple and a bike. And then the next person has to remember apple, bike.
Oh, okay.
So it's through the alphabet.
Oh,
and
I
of course,
see,
it
I
gets
see, I
increasingly
see.
harder because
Oh, right,
you're
right.
having to remember what everybody said before you. And then, so
That is a
it's
fun
a
idea.
lot of fun.
What is
Yeah.
that, in a card game? Like when you're
Yeah,
driving
so
in
when
the
you're
car?
traveling
Okay,
or
right.
killing time or just trying to keep kids under control, it really works nicely. But I played it growing up, and we played it a lot.
Do you know what
And
game I
so
used to
it's a
play
lot of
in the
fun.
car with my son? Make the connection. We would come up with something.
Okay.
And like let's say I say to you, I love Lucy.
Okay.
Okay. Now you have to say something that connects to that. So if you say Superman, then I'll say make the connection.
Okay.
And the connection could be, well, it's a TV show from the same decade or something
that's
like that.
fun.
But if you
That's
said
a fun
but if you
game.
said gorillas in the zoo, I would say make the connection.
Mm-hmm.
And if you couldn't make the connection, then we have to start all over again and I just got the point or whatever.
Sure.
If you
Oh, that's
made
a
it.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah, we try to play those kinds of games, and I like doing anything. Of course, it's going to sharpen your mind. So even like he was saying, the puzzles and
Well,
such.
yeah.
Now I've heard the same thing. If you do those puzzles, it sharpens your memory. But I guess it would make sense only if you're practicing memory would it sharpen your memory.
Yeah.
So now I know.
So do you do anything in the course of your day that requires memorization?
All the time.
Like what?
I mean,
Like what?
if I'm doing an interview with someone,
Right.
I will typically now, thanks to technology, of course, I've got an app on my phone. I'm able to record it, but I also like to remember when they said something, their body language, for example.
Really?
So when
Are
I'm
you-
writing, I don't just say she said, she said, she said. I may say, oh, she laughingly explained or something, but I won't know that unless I
Well, it's a
can remember.
good writer. So do you, are you good with, like you go to a party and you know a few people, but you're meeting a lot of new people? Are you good with knowing all their names at the end of the day?
I'm terrible with names.
I'm horrible at that.
absolutely terrible. If I see a face, I can recognize it, but I am absolutely terrible with names. And in my job, I'm kind of required to be out there knowing people.
Right.
And I'll know that I know you, and I'll feel terrible because I'll have forgotten your name. And it could be someone I've even met a few times. So usually what I try to do is make a connection. So I'll either say their name many, many times over and over, or I'll make a connection. So, like if your name is Matt and I met you wearing a hat, I might be like, okay, that's Matt in the hat, Matt in the hat, Matt. So I just remember.
Just don't call him Hat. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Or if what you're supposed to do is if you meet someone, you ask their name. Okay, your name is Larry. So now throughout the night when I talk to you, I'm supposed to use your name. So tell me, Larry, what do you like to do, or where are you from, Larry? So that it's just a part of the dialogue, and it really helps you remember their name. Just don't do that too much either, because that could be weird. That could be weird too. But
see, and in doing the radio show, I always have the names in front of me, so
Right.
it's my crutch or whatever.
Right. There's a lot of memory involved in being an editor at a magazine, because you're remembering what's going on this month. You've got to remember what you talked about last month. You've got to remember things coming up, and then events and things. The lady told you at the grocery store that was this really good idea for a story, and you're like, gosh, what was that? because I don't always have a pad and paper with me. So although I do try to jot things down, it does require a lot of just
So you're
storing it up
exercising
here.
your memory more than you realize.
Right. Hopefully that works out for me in the long run.
Somewhat.
Hopefully.
And that's what they say. I'm not really sure what the explanation is, but they say that will ward off dementia,
I hope so.
even Alzheimer's, which I don't understand what it even is.
What,
dementia,
Alzheimer's?
well, Alzheimer's is a physical illness. I know that much.
Sure.
That there's a physical thing going on in your brain.
Right.
Have you ever seen an animation of that? It looks like spaghetti. Like
Yes.
It wraps around the core of your brain.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a very, very sad
Horrible.
illness.
Yeah,
very
horrible.
sad illness. So anything that I can do to keep my brain sharp. But it's funny, I can remember some things and some things I just can't. So, but I guess that's anybody. I'm really good with keeping track of stuff at the magazine and remembering events and dates.
Okay, now I've known writers all my life, and now a lot of the writers that I've known are much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 60, so they're like in their 80s, and they are sharp. I think you've picked a profession that'll keep you sharp.
I hope so.
I think so.
I hope so.
Just from what I've seen, I'm sure there's probably some exceptions to that. But
I hope so. I'm going to try anyways. But my mom always said in school that was one of my strengths was memorization. Spelling words, dates, states and capitals. The minute that I got the paper in front of me and I read it once or twice, I would just recall it very well. So good. So that's good. Good news. Good
That
news
is
for
good.
me and bad news for all the people that have said things to me they don't want me to remember later on in life. But I'm really excited because we just wrapped up our September issue,
Right.
which will be out on Tuesday, and it's an entire football themed issue. So usually the magazine is in layers. So there's maybe something community related,
Right.
cultural, etc. And this issue is, everything in there is football related. And the cover is stellar. We have Keanu Neal. He's a starting safety at the University of Florida.
Okay.
That we did an exclusive interview with, and he's on our cover. And from tailgating recipes, everything in there you'll see has some kind of tie back to either college football or professional football, and it's really
No
a
high school?
beautiful issue. No, we didn't really touch on high school. We do a school feature or issue kind of down the line, and so we really wanted to keep this with college and with professional, and it was a lot of fun to write a story that it's funny, if you read my editor's note, it talks about the story that I wrote for this issue, and it's called Life as an NFL Wife. And one of the first things Linda asked me when she hired me was, you should consider writing a story about your life, being married to a professional football player. And at the time, going through a divorce and the things that were happening, I really just didn't feel like it was right for a lot of reasons. Mainly, I just didn't want to talk about it.
Sure.
And I didn't want to write angry because I thought I could possibly write something that I could never take back. And,
Right.
we have a child together. And so I felt like it was really the right time. We're both in good places in our lives. And with it being football themed, it made sense. And so I was able to sit down and really write
So
it.
your story's in there.
So my story is
Was
in
it
there.
still hard to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. A lot of it was just having to kind of go back down memory lane, and there's a lot of great memories, and there's a lot of really awful memories. And plus being able to write it in a way that touches on things, it covers subject areas,
Right,
but without
right.
divulging hurtful information that could be damaging to my ex-husband. So it was hard. It was a rough one to write, for
so
sure.
a lot of people who get divorced don't necessarily carry that with them the rest of their lives. But I imagine the celebrity status of an NFL football player is probably going to be with you all of your life.
Right. Well, if you really think about, less than 1% of the population made it to the professional level in the NFL. And so assuming that each one of those gentlemen took a wife, you're talking about an experience that less than 1% of women will experience in their lifetime. Now, granted, some of them remarry. Typically, it's after they've played, and then some of them don't even marry until afterwards. So it could be even less than that 1%. But my experience in life is something that less than 1% of women will experience ever in their life. And there's a lot of misconceptions.
But somebody like Cher, her whole life, she's always been asked about Sonny. And they weren't married. They were married for a while, but she had like 3 or 4 husbands after that.
Yeah.
But always people would ask about Sonny.
Yeah, well, and I've seen that. I've seen a lot of women, and I talk about that. They really lose themselves when they're married to a professional athlete. And I'm assuming that it's probably across the board for all of the different types of athletics. But, my story was from my perspective. And
well, I can't wait to read it.
Oh, yeah, it's really exciting.
I get to know you a little bit better.
After the break, I'll tell you a few more things about it.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today with a couple of showers and thunderstorms in the area, mainly this afternoon and evening. High today 87 to 91. Partly cloudy, warm and muggy later tonight, though 72 to 76. For tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, high 87 to 91. On Sunday, sunshine and some clouds with a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon, high 87 to 91. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind. With a custom treatment plan that really works, I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
We're saving thousands with Robert Palmer.
So rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around. If you're trying to get a mortgage, if you're trying to get the best credit card, if you're looking at student loans, cell phone bills, you name it, rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around.
That's rule number 1, just one more vital part of fighting back to stop being a financial zombie. Yes, you can take the mystery out of the complicated world of finances. Take charge when it comes to your money. Listen in on The Source, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, Saturdays at 12:05.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking, will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Hello friends, this is Avilio Silvera inviting you to the 23rd Annual Silver River Friends of the NRA Dinner. Our upcoming charitable banquet is on September 10th, 2015 at 5:30 p.m. and this year at a brand new location, the Circle Square Cultural Center at On Top of the World. The $50 per person ticket gives you access to games, a live auction, silent auction, raffles, prizes, and a whole lot of fellowship and fun, not to mention a seafood and chicken dinner buffet. You're going to want to be at the Silver River Friends of the NRA dinner on September the 10th at Circle Square Cultural Center. You can call Connie Davis at 352-239-0711. Again, that's Connie Davis at 352-239-0711. This is our charitable fundraising for the year so that we can empower the next generation of defenders of the Second Amendment.
All right, 20 minutes after 10 o'clock, Kelli Hart is here. We're talking about Ocala Magazine. So you have a very personal article in this issue.
Yes, I do.
What did you title it?
It's called Life as an NFL Wife. I tried to come up with some clever, football terms and such, and there were some that were cutesy. But, I mean, the story itself is pretty matter of fact. I mean, it's really not a cutesy fluff story. And so because
Is it
was
hard?
serious, it came with a serious headline.
Is it hard to be interviewed about? Can I go there? Can I interview you?
Sure.
About?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You should know by now. I'm pretty transparent.
Yeah, but I don't want to step on.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Where did you? Tell me your husband's name. Your former husband.
Clinton Hart.
Clinton Hart.
Yes.
I knew that. Mm-hmm. I wanted our listeners to know that. And
Sure.
what team did he play for?
So he's played for the Philadelphia Eagles and also the San Diego Chargers. And then I think there was a 2 or 3 game run with the St. Louis Rams to finish off his career.
Were you a fan of any of those teams or of him before you ever met him?
Well, I met him before he was a professional.
Oh, okay.
So was I a fan of him? In a sense,
well, then,
I guess we were dating.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So
so you were with him when he got the call of the big deal.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's exciting stuff.
Yeah. And so that's always, been one of those things that I've been faced with.
Where did you
you're
meet?
only with him because he's like, I was with him when he wasn't. So
okay.
Yeah. So so he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, and so I was not a fan of any of those teams. I grew up in a home where we watched the Chicago Bears and the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. So one Florida, one non-Florida.
Right.
So and where did you guys meet?
So we met at Central Florida Community College when it was still called CFCC.
Okay.
And that's where we met. We didn't start dating at that particular time, but our lives kind of circled back around right after I had graduated from the University of Florida, and we were both working in Lowell. There's a level 8, like a juvenile correctional type facility that used to be out there.
Oh, okay.
And so we were both working out there, and
what year
just
was
kind of
that?
came back around. 2001.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. 2001.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so then did you get married in Ocala?
We didn't. We got married in San Diego.
In San Diego?
In San Diego.
Were you living out there at the time?
I never lived out there. So even when he was in Philly or when he was in San Diego, I always did the back and forth thing because it was either grad school or, operating a business or something like that.
You were in the airline. You were a jet wife.
Setter. Yes. I was in the air a lot.
Really?
So we got married in San Diego on a Tuesday because that's a Saturday for NFL couples.
Okay, and so the NFL pretty much dictates your life.
It does. It dictates your
all year
does.
Or just during the football season?
All year. All year long. I'll never forget a time, it's not in the story, but I'll never forget a time that he had gotten tickets to take me to Gainesville because I love the Beatles, and he doesn't love the Beatles, but he got
Gainesville
tickets.
to the Beatles, 2001.
This was maybe more like 2007-ish or something.
Yeah, but the Beatles were
but
69.
it was of course, no, but it was a band that was doing all
it was
it was
a Beatle.
Yeah, one of those types of things.
Imitators.
And so we got all dressed. I was so excited to go. And as we were literally in the car driving out of our driveway, he got a call that said, random drug screen. Random drug screen.
Really?
Yes. And when you get that call, you have to be at the location they tell you in 30 minutes, no matter what.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, I'm, on the couch, arms crossed. My body language was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But we couldn't go. So we missed the entire production because we had to wait for the gentleman to come. And it's no matter where you are, when you get the call, 30 minutes. Doesn't matter what you miss. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what
So
you're
would
doing.
you like to meet Ringo?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Can you call him?
He's one of 2 that's left. I don't know how to get Paul McCartney. We do have connections with the All-Star Band.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be great.
We'll do that just for you.
I would love that.
Oh,
my gosh. I would love that. So little things like that. I mean, you really think that you can just pick up and go and do, and you can't. It's a business. People think that this is just, these guys are so lucky, they're so blessed, and they make all of this money. And, I talked a little bit about that as well and how the contracts work. We inked an $18 million deal or something with San Diego. And so everyone thought, oh my gosh, they're millionaires. They have $18 million. And that's not the way that it works, at least not in the NFL. That may be the way it works in the NBA, that may be the way it works in baseball, but not in the NFL. So usually what that means is your first year you get a little tiny bit of that, and then the next year, assuming they keep you, you get a little bit more, but the big chunk comes at the end. And typally, you don't make it that long.
You don't get it to the end.
They
really?
make sure that it's set up to where they can replace you, trade you, etc. before you get the big chunk. So it's very misleading, and there's a lot of really misleading things about the NFL, and it comes with a lot of negativity, and I mean the stress and the worry and the distance and the groupies and it's just a lot. It really is.
Aside from Lily being the sweetest part of that whole experience, what would be the second sweetest part of that whole experience?
I think the second sweetest part was when the NFL decided that they were going to do NFL Europe, and so each season they would pick 2 American teams that would go over to London and play American football there in London. And the very first year that the inaugural year of that, they chose the San Diego Chargers to go. And that, the team, yeah, they paid for the wives to fly.
Did you go to Liverpool? You liked the Beatles?
Of course.
Oh, you did?
Course, yes.
Okay. So you did that whole thing?
Did the whole thing. Oh, yes. So not only was it nice to get to go on that trip, and be a part of something that was brand new to the NFL. Everything was paid for. Everything was top notch. But then getting to cross Abbey Road and all of that kind of stuff, it was just really one of those trips that, made some of the bad parts worth it, but not entirely.
Well, that is exciting.
Yeah. So did it afford me nice things? Yes. Did it afford me trips? We've been to Germany, we've been to Amsterdam and Paris and all over. Yes, it did. But in the end, you can't buy success. So in the end, there was a lot of failure because, the ultimate failure came because of a lot of really negative things that come along with the NFL. So, nice memories and some nice things, but I wouldn't do it over again. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it over again. So, but I'm one of those believers that where you are today is because of all of the things that you've experienced, good, bad, and ugly. So I do believe that every step I took through that relationship and through the NFL experience, for lack of better words, made me the person that I am today. So I have to be thankful.
So it is going to be fun for the readers to read the article.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I think it's kind of like the rubbernecking thing. We're curious what life was like for somebody who went through what you went through.
Right. Yeah, and I hope anybody reading it understands my purpose for writing it. Appreciates the time that I allowed to pass before I decided to sit down and write it, and that it was not written with any intent other than just to be transparent and share a little bit more about myself.
So can you, I'm really putting you on the spot with this question. You ready for this one? Can you got 2 minutes, talk to 2 people listening right now. The young football player who may be an NFL player one day.
Sure.
Give him advice about his marriage, and the young girl who may marry him, give her advice about that marriage.
Okay. Well, obviously my first bit of advice for anybody being married is to keep God first in their marriage. Because I'm a believer in my faith, I believe that no marriage is going to ever be successful or thriving without that. I think that they need to sit down. I wish that I had someone before me that I could have sat down with and ask, what am I really up against? And for them to just give me the hard, cold facts. So if it's a couple that's facing this particular experience, I would say reach out to someone and tell them, cut it to us straight. Tell us what we're up against, because there's so many experiences that a normal person would not otherwise have, and the temptations. And I would say do everything together. Make it a priority. If he travels, travel. If he's across the world practicing, if he goes out for camps, go with him. And not to keep tabs, but because you really have to keep a united front, because everybody and their mother will try to wedge their way.
So you give advice just not to the girl. What about to him? What do you tell the player himself?
I would tell the player himself to really dissect his ego and take a look at why he's playing.
Wow, yeah.
And again, to keep God first in that, because it's a whole new ball game, no pun intended, but something that I don't think anybody can be completely prepared for. So just trying to be prepared the best that someone possibly can be.
You have allowed us to really understand or know who you are.
Thank you. I try.
Not just now, but every week you do this.
I think that's one of the most beautiful gifts of my job, is I can share little bits and pieces of me more and more. And I love that. I love that about what I do, and I love it about my readers, especially when they write to me and they give me feedback and they appreciate my transparency. So Have a great weekend. We're going to Georgia this weekend, so we're
be careful.
We're taking full advantage. I won't hit any cows.
Don't hit anything.
I will try not to.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, we'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The Dow sliding some 200 points at the open as investors take in the August jobs report just out this morning. The 173,000 jobs created below expectations, while the jobless rate fell to 5.1%. That's a 7-year low.
The unemployment rate falling for the right reasons. The labor force was steady and more people found work. Wages took a healthy jump last month, rising 0.3%.